Yeah, welcome back, everybody. This is Night Flight, and today it's time to talk to Wendy Cicchetti again. The year is going by so fast, and yeah, almost 4 months are gone. Well, at the time when we record this. And yeah, I'm very happy to have her back. We will look at the energies that are coming in and what to expect. So, welcome back, Wendy, and how are you?
Thank you, Judith. I'm doing well in spite of everything going on in the world. Doing
Yeah,
well. Trying to
yeah.
keep the balance. That's what we're all doing, right?
Yeah, that is one of the most important things, not to, yeah, go off the rails right now, because it's easy to do that.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, and I tell and I've told my clients for years and years, you know, be emotionally neutral because when you get all emotional, you give your power to it. And then
Mm.
you keep giving your power to all these emotional things, and then you have no balance, no center. Keep your power, keep emotionally neutral, and then you can have some objectivity. Emotion destroys your objectivity,
Yeah.
you know. And the
Yeah.
emotion, and most people don't realize this, the emotion that you feel in your head is only in your head.
Mm.
You think everybody else feels the same way, and they're probably not.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You got to own what's in here. It's in your head. And if it's just in your head, you can shift it,
Mm.
you know.
So another thing that I wanted to ask you, because it came from several directions now, and I was wondering if that has also something to do with what is going on in the cosmos right now. Uh, because I have a distinct feeling that we are experiencing a quickening of time.
Yes.
Um, and today my mother mentioned it to me, and she's usually not at all interested in subjects like that. Other people have mentioned it, and it is not only, because we are getting older, and as a child you had to wait for summer holidays like forever. I know that phenomena, but that is not what I mean. So I was thinking maybe Wendy has an idea.
Well, I think it's part of the shift in consciousness and the shift in frequency. And everybody's noticing it that, all of a sudden time has gone by. You may have lapses of time, even where you're taking a drive and you go someplace and you lose a whole hour. You get there an hour ahead of when you were supposed to. Time is just changing. It's different. It's illusionary. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but that time is an illusion, you
Hmm.
know, and we created the calendar, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Created time and a measurement of the calendar and time. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it has an application to everything that's going on, especially during this evolutionary cycle. Maybe when we've evolved, we won't even have, time or
Hmm.
clocks. But definitely the consciousness is shifting so rapidly, just like these eclipses are like, they're like, boom, you shift some more, and boom, you shift some more. People are just reeling. You get headaches, you don't know what's going on. You think something's wrong with you. No, our bodies are just adjusting to it. Our souls are adjusting to it. It's a
Mm.
big adjustment, everything. So yes, if you feel like you're going crazy and you're losing time, no, don't. You're not going crazy. You are losing time.
Yeah, I mean, okay, 60 seconds is still a minute. We all know that.
But
But
they've
in
gone.
terms of perception, I mean, where did February go? When did that happen?
I don't know. No,
Yeah,
it's, almost May. It's like this is just crazy, you
yeah,
know, that we've gone so fast so far.
yeah. And we just had New Year's Eve.
I know. We just put the Christmas decorations around and it's almost summer.
Yeah. yeah, and as you said, our calendar is such a joke.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, December, really, that is 10, not 12. November is 9, not 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go back to the roots, that, that's exactly the story. And they keep having to adjust things for all the mistakes they've made.
Yeah. So another thing that I wanted to ask you before we jump into the current energies. Whoa, whoa. There was a very crackling noise on your end. So what is it's not talked about very often, but what is the importance of Chiron in astrology?
Chiron is an asteroid belt. It used to be a planet, and
Mm.
it's an asteroid belt, I think just before Jupiter. And what it relates to is the energies of it have to do with our wounds and becoming
Mhm.
wounded healers. And so we take the energy that we come in with, okay, and Chiron is put in a particular house, like for me, it's in the eighth house in Sagittarius. And what it means is taking those wounds and using them to evolve, to leave the pain, and to move into leadership, to move into helping people with your pain, to bless the lives of other people. And it's really interesting, my Chiron being in the eighth house. Well, the eighth house is the house of therapy. And what do I really do all the time is,
Yeah.
I counsel people with their charts, and I'm basically a therapist, a spiritual and astrological therapist, and and so many times I draw from the experiences, from the trauma that I had growing up, and help my clients in what they're dealing with. So many people, they struggle, they think they're the only ones that have the problem.
Mhm. Yeah.
Notice that. Yeah.
Yeah. In Greek mythology, Chiron is a teacher and a healer as well, who ironically couldn't heal himself. And so I thought, yeah, it's a few sentences about that. My Chiron is in Aquarius, and the big headline there is, "You do not fit in."
So true.
Yeah.
Aquarius and Uranus and the planet Uranus always means that you're quirky on some level. People don't get you.
And so, yeah, when I became aware of that, yeah, I had to laugh. But, sometimes I have to say, I do not want to fit in everywhere.
No, I agree with that completely, especially in this world. Do we really want to fit into this world? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And I've thought about that lately because, I was a person who really tried to fit in, being raised
Mhm.
like I was, and, then going into politics and being in the legislature and fitting into all of that government stuff and politics. And now I look at it and go, oh man, I'm so glad I got out of that stuff. I'm so glad I don't fit in there anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, sometimes we have to take some interesting journeys, and it might take a little bit longer, but usually you end up where you are supposed to be. So, Wendy, Saturn moved into Pisces.
Yeah.
And I know we already touched on that in our last interview. And so the times of harsh restrictions is over, because you cannot pull that off with
Yeah.
Saturn in Pisces.
Right.
What I expect, though, is that the subject of water will come to the forefront. in different ways, maybe droughts, maybe floods, maybe contaminated water, maybe quarrels over water rights. So what do you expect?
Well, yes, all of those things and
Mhm.
more. I think there's a lot more coming out of the oceans that we're going to be seeing. They've got, oh my gosh, I just wish we knew where all of the submarines from every country are right now around the world. I mean, they're all over. And not only that, the tunnels that are under the ocean and what that represents. But I think most importantly of that aspect is water dissolves. And this Piscean water, and interestingly enough, Pisces energy is the strongest energy in the zodiac. People don't realize that. They
Mhm.
think, oh, soft little Pisces. Pisces is ruled by the ocean, the water of the ocean, which can wear away rock. They are solid and powerful. And so what's happening is Saturn is representative of government, big business, financial stuff, religion, big religion, and it's just wearing it all away. It's just going to wear it, dissolve it all. And that's what needs to happen. That's part of the evolutionary cycle is when things get too big, too bad, too corrupt, then some astrological aspect comes together to help destroy all of that, bring it back down to center so we can create something new that is viable for people. Because what's going on now in all of those areas, big money and government and all that stuff, business, it's just no longer viable.
Mhm. Um, uh, some interest. I don't know if you know Mr. Tedros from the WHO. He
Uh,
he was born in the sign of Pisces,
mm,
and he has 6 planets in Pisces.
oh, wow.
And now Saturn moved into Pisces and will go over all of that.
Yes.
So that could mean, and I guess from what we are seeing, accumulating more and more power. But the flip side of that is it could all go down in a handbasket.
Yeah.
And actually, and this is not just wishful thinking. I expect the latter.
Oh, I do too. Mhm.
Mhm,
Absolutely.
mhm,
Absolutely. Now, one of the things that is very significant about Pisces energy is insanity and illusion. Okay. And sometimes Pisces have a hard time being able to determine what's real and what's not. It all blends together for Pisces. So this guy is insane. And Saturn comes along and wakes people up to reality. Okay.
mhm,
And then dissolves away whatever structure there is that's causing the problem. So, and that's every Pisces. Pisces is about illusion, about fantasy and insanity.
mhm.
So
And
if we're operating on the challenge side of it, on the other side of it, it's high intelligence, creativity,
yeah,
spirituality and connection. But on the challenge side, which is what we're dealing with on this planet, then those other attributes are what really are ruling the day with Pisces.
and we still have Neptune in Pisces, correct? And
Yes.
that adds to the delusion.
Yes. Oh, and it's been there for what, 13, 14 years now.
Mhm.
And it's getting towards, the latter degrees. I'm looking right now at the exact degree it's in right now. It's at 26 degrees.
Yeah, yeah.
So we still have, a couple of years or so left of it. But what that has to do with is it's a counterbalance. It's the growth in spirituality. It's the raising of the frequency. It's also the spiritual truth coming out about our lives, and our souls, at the same time, and we've experienced it, which is the savior complex. Just do what we say and we'll save you. Wrong. We've all figured that one out, haven't we? And a collective insanity. And when you think of all of the people who are believing the illusion that we've gone through in the last 3 years, do you see how that's collective insanity? And that's Neptune, Pisces, and Saturn is coming to put some reality to it and wake us up.
Yeah. Usually people have, when the word Saturn is being spoken, it's usually a little bit, but, and yes, I agree. The last 3 years, streamlining, surveilling, disciplining at every corner. Yeah. But I think this time around, it isn't that negative.
You mean now? Yeah. What's happening now, because more and more people are waking up, and they're not going to put up with it anymore.
Yeah.
They're much wiser.
Yeah. So another hard hitter, another big player. So for it comes in increments, and I think that is a good thing. Pluto moved into Aquarius. It will stay there until June, and then it will come back in January until September, goes back again into Capricorn, and then settles on, and I guess if I'm right, 19th of November in 2024.
It's in December. It's in December.
No, November.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But
yeah. So do you think that is good for us, that it comes in increments?
What's happening right now with it being in Aquarius for the next 2 months, or up until June 14th, is that we're getting a sense of freedom. Aquarius represents the people, and it's about rebellion. It's about freedom. There's so many wonderful attributes that have to do with Aquarius. It's not following the rules. And Capricorn is about centralization. Aquarius is about decentralization, which is what people are wanting now. We're tired. We don't want the New World Order. We don't want a one world government. We want our sovereignty. We want to decentralize. And so having Pluto in Aquarius right now, at least for those periods of time, is actually helping us think that way. That, okay, now it's time to do those things. But you have to understand the anaretic degree, or the critical degree in a sign, which is at 28 to 29 degrees. So when Pluto retrogrades back into Capricorn at 29 degrees, it's digging in. It's digging in and destroying all of those structures on the planet that have been corrupt. And so every time it dips back in, it's like more destruction. Okay. We're giving people, a chance to see the possibilities, but then we're going back and we're going to finish the job. And so I think it's really a great process. Absolutely.
And what I also expect is a re-evaluation of figureheads and leaders on all levels when it goes back. Yeah.
Well, when Pluto moves into Aquarius for the next 20 years, which will, be late in 24, that's when we really start ushering in the age of Aquarius. And it's a whole different age. It's a whole different way of thinking. The problems that we will look at, and it's like Aquarius has problems as well as Capricorn. Okay. And it's right now, the problems that we're seeing is AI run amok, and Aquarius is all about the technology.
Mhm.
So that's going to be a new front that we have to pay attention to. I just watched an interview with Elon Musk, and I learned a lot because, the media has their bent on things. But to hear him actually talk, it was an interview with Tucker Carlson, to hear him actually talk about specific issues and his involvement in those issues and what's going on with Google and what's going on, with the AI. And they want closed AI, they don't want anybody to get it. And they hated him because he created open AI where it was an open source. And I guess the head of Google, and I can't remember his name, hates Elon Musk, won't even talk to him anymore because he opened it up. Interesting
Mhm.
stuff, that he's on the forefront of, but he's also on the forefront of saying we got to stop it. We got to stop it because it's getting out of control already,
Mhm.
and it needs oversight.
Yeah.
And I guess he signed some letter with hundreds of other scientists that says, let's have a 6-month moratorium and let's study this. And
Mhm.
I haven't heard any more about that, but yeah. So each sign has its struggles. Yes, we're getting rid of these government entities and business entities that have just been so corrupt, but we're moving into new problems. It's like that whole saying, the grass is never greener. We still have stuff we got to work on no matter what.
Yeah. And that is so true that we, last time around when that happened, of course, we had the French Revolution, the American Revolution. And yes, that was a big step in France. The monarchy ended
Yeah.
for a while, at least. And I think France is an example that you never can lean back and think, yeah, okay, now we've done it. Because after that revolution, we had the terror reign of Robespierre, that was stopped in the end by him getting decapitated himself. And yeah, and shortly after that, Napoleon, and he crowned himself emperor. So
There's always someone or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
It's part of the human condition. And also astrologically, it fits in that a lot of these people who push to become controllers in whatever their area is, or controllers of the world, like what we're dealing with now, it's just part of the human condition. They're arrogant, they're maniacal, and they don't care about people. They don't have any empathy. It's just me, 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 and I'm going to rule. Power, money, greed, and no empathy. And
Mm-hmm.
that's all throughout history. It's not just now.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time, however, that we've dealt with it on a global level to the extent that we're seeing, where all of a sudden they're taking control of just about every area of our lives on a global level. This is unprecedented.
Yeah. So, but we also had after that we had the first industrial revolution. So, as you said, Pluto always has to do with technology. And I would say during that time and shortly after, we made big progress. Um, and I expect actually the same,
Mhm.
that we will make leaps forward in terms of technology, not just AI.
Well,
Um,
we always have to look at both sides. Now, when they
mm,
invented the railroad,
yeah.
okay, what happened was the good part was that they could get goods and services, across the United States in record time. but it also meant an easy way to transport slaves.
Yeah.
So you have good on one side and bad on the other. And that we always have to be vigilant. What are we going to allow to have happen? Yes, we want the good, but how are we going to control the bad?
Yeah, exactly. And oh, now my thought slipped away. But okay. What I also expect, because Pluto, this energy is, yeah, I would say not negotiable.
It's a very
Yeah.
it's a fixed energy.
Exactly. And I expect institutions to fall that we have been used to for hundreds and hundreds of time. And personally, when I look at it right now, of course, I don't have a crystal ball, but as it presents itself right now, I could imagine that one of the first things to go can be the financial system.
Yeah.
So, and here's my question. You know, on the one hand, that will be a very horrible sight because people will be panicking. On the other hand, it opens up a lot of space for creating something new that is not for a change enslaving. And so, but do you personally think that we as a species, as a whole, not the few people scattered around the world, are we ready for that freedom? Or will panic, you know, be the overwhelming feeling here?
Well, it's interesting. Change always makes people panic. Something's going to change. And the financial situation has been very corrupt for a long time.
Yeah.
Hundreds of years, this central banking system is run by very evil people that have desired to enslave us. And there are other institutions like in the United States, the IRS, and all of these things are corrupt. But when you look back at the French Revolution, back when not most, but Pluto was in Aquarius. We also had the nodes, the North and South node were in Taurus and Aquarius and Scorpio, which is called the financial axis. And at that time during the French Revolution, when the people rose up and the monarch was killed, but what ended up happening was it created a new financial system that created a middle class.
Mm.
Just being rich and just being poor, it gave more viability to people in the middle to make more money. So it was helpful. So that's the energetic window that we're in right now. Can we create, while we're in this financial axis, can we create something that is going to be beneficial to all, not just the 1% billionaires, but to everyone, and make it fair? And yes, we don't want to have a federal internet banking system where they see everything that you buy and control you by your expenditures. No, that's not what we want in the world. Now, that's what the central banking system wants, right? Where they can control. So this is the window, the period of time astrologically for those kinds of things to happen. And because of the placement of Uranus in Taurus, Uranus being quick and sudden changes out of the blue, and Taurus having to do with money, You know, we can well see something happen just like that.
Mm,
And, you know, I caution my clients to make sure you've got some cash on hand when things like that happen, because not everything's going to collapse. Not everybody's going to decide that they want to follow that system. And it's going to take uprising to get rid of that system, or people in governments around the world that are honest people that you can trust, that are saying, no, we're going to have our sovereignty. We're not going to allow this. That's what's got to happen. People, that word sovereignty right now is so important, not only by our country, but us individually. No, you're not going to control us. I have my sovereignty. I'm not buying into your system of control. And everybody needs to be thinking about that. It's very
mm,
important, you know.
yeah. I would suggest that people also, yeah, how shall I say this? If you have, I'm not a financial expert. I'm pretty sure that there are people out there who can tell you how to navigate these wild waters that are coming. But as for me, I have invested in precious metals, conserving
Yes.
just some money, because here in Germany, yeah, not that I remember personally, I'm not that old, but we had a time when, people had to drag around bags of money to buy a loaf of bread. And yeah, some people even sold their houses, yeah, because they thought they get so much. And, a month later,
Yeah.
they could maybe buy a meal for that. Yeah.
Mm.
So, yes, I also have cash at hand, but I would say the biggest chunk I put that into. I cannot really afford gold. I invested in silver, but physical.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the paper. Because there might come a point when nobody wants to have any paper money.
That's right. Has to have some backing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all of these changes are going to happen. Now it's very interesting that the largest purchasers of gold,
Other
the
central banks.
largest is the central banks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very interesting.
Yeah. And
And the
Russia,
Vatican, by the way, and the Vatican. Those are the two
yeah.
biggest.
Yeah. And they last year they called back all their assets, had to be in September. All Vatican assets um, that were across the world had to be brought back to Italy, into the Vatican itself.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So it might be that they are expecting something as well. And yeah, I know it. And especially Russia and China, I have, when we had that quarrel 2007, 8, yeah, many people expected a crash shortly after that, but they have been very creative in kicking down the empty can down the road.
Yes.
And but yeah, nothing has really changed. The
It's,
casino is still running,
yeah. Well,
and
I watched that with the stock market. It's just being propped up.
yeah,
It's just being propped up. It's not real. It's another
yeah,
illusion. Yeah.
yeah. And since then, I have observed that Russia and China, especially, have bought lots and lots of gold, both countries. And now, from what I'm understanding, they are giving out a digital ruble and yuan, but that is gold backed. That, of course, would put the United States in a bit of a pickle.
Yeah. A big one.
Mm.
Well, I know that the central bank has created this new digital currency, and it's supposed to go into effect in July. It's called Fed Now. And, I just wonder how many people are going to buy into that. But then if banks close and all of a sudden you lose your money, what are you going to do?
Mm,
That's why you need to have something in reserve
yeah,
out of the banks.
yeah. Well, later down the line, I would also expect that our school system will collapse, that our medical system will collapse, that yeah, pretty much everything will go down in a handbasket. And that can be emotionally overwhelming. So I think it's good to be mentally prepared for that.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that once it hits, it
yeah,
doesn't, sweep you off your feet.
yeah. And Aquarius is about new beginnings, freedom and
Hmm.
new beginnings. And so when Pluto goes back into Capricorn, for a few months and then back into Aquarius, back and forth, what Pluto is doing is destroying these systems that don't work, destroying them. Our medical system in this country, in our country, I don't know how it is in Europe, but it's terrible. It is just awful. And I won't even go. I won't even go to see a doctor. It's just, to me, it's just beyond, spend 10 minutes with you, and then you, even if you're on, Medicare or whatever, you get a bill for $120. I've been paying into Medicare all this time, hardly ever used it.
Yeah,
And I have
yeah.
to pay another $120. It's just insane. And people think, when you get old and you get on these systems that, whoa, it's no, it's all a big scam.
Mm,
All a scam.
yeah. Yeah, here it's not that financially that it is a burden, because here in Germany the system is very different. Everybody is health insured.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and for instance, when I had my brain surgery, didn't even see the bill.
Wow. That's not the way it is in the US, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, yeah. If I were in the US, I would be broke now. Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Finished.
No question about that. The other thing we have to understand about Pluto during this year is square to the nodes, Scorpio and Taurus. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the financial axis. Okay. Pluto is going to be square to those. And so what is Pluto all about? Death and rebirth. Okay. Evolution. And what is the system that it's working on? The financial system. And it's at the base of everything. In fact, finances are the basis of everything that goes on in the world. Follow the money. And when you follow the money, you get down to the nitty gritty. Who's controlling what, and who's making what happen.
Mhm. Could you elaborate a little bit for the audience on the nodes?
Okay, the nodes are actually positions of the moon. They're not a planet, but
Mhm.
they're very active. They have a definite energy to them. Okay. And so the south node, if we're looking at the world's chart, okay, is our collective, humanity's collective past. And right now that's in Scorpio. So all of the dirty stuff from the past is coming up, isn't it? And the north node is humanity's collective future. Where are we going?
Mhm.
So these nodes are extremely important. And in a person's chart, it's like the south node is, what did you bring in this lifetime that's easy
Mhm.
for you, that's easy to work on? And then the north node is where you're going later in your life. And so, but we're looking at it right now from a global perspective, which is, where's the money? What's happening with the money?
Yeah, that's an interesting story. Where did the money go? And the North Node now is in Taurus.
Yes.
Mm.
Now, I think when the nodes change, they'll be going into Aries Libra. I think in the middle of 2023, they're going to be, it's hard for me to remember all of these dates, but this year they will be moving out of Taurus and Scorpio and be moving into Libra Aries. So we'll see what happens with that. When that happens, we'll talk more about that. But right now and up until that time, it's just money, big government, big business. And see, Pluto, remember, as it dips back in to Capricorn, it's working with the nodes, the financial system with the nodes for government, big business, big religion, all of that stuff. And then it'll go back into Aquarius and give us some more taste of what that's like and getting more innovation going in the financial sector. Okay. And then it'll dip back in Capricorn and start, keep destroying the structure that don't work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's square those nodes. And also, one of the biggest things with Pluto is secrets.
Mm-hmm.
Pluto is all about secrets. Scorpio is all about secrets. So I think what we're going to see is big revelations of truth from the past,
Mm-hmm.
and all of these big, huge financial things that have been going on that are dark, evil, destructive, but we're going to find out what they are. And
Mm-hmm.
as we find out those things, again, more and more people wake up. Oh, we thought our government was honest. Oh my God, they had our best interest at heart. Oh my gosh, what have they done with our money? Yeah, what have they done with our money? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of dark stuff there, folks, and it's coming out. Whistleblowers are coming out everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
People are telling the truth, and that's part of Aquarius.
Mm-hmm.
Telling the truth. Aquarius represents the truth, and in Pluto, it represents the secrets, you see. So it's pulling out those secrets when it's in Aquarius that we need to see.
So Pluto energy is also about the collective. So, this sense of we are many.
Mm-hmm.
Do you expect that will get stronger? And as maybe especially once Pluto settles in Aquarius, that this sense I'm just, although it is never true, but a lot of people operate under that impression that I'm just a single human being. What can I do? And I am weak and I cannot change anything, when actually it's only us who can change anything. But would you expect that sense of we are many gets stronger?
I think so. And by the time Pluto is solid in Aquarius at the end of 24, then I believe that up until then, it's going to be chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
What do I believe? Back and forth and back and forth. But then when people finally recognize the truth, and even more people wake up, I think we're going to have a solid people-based economies and situations where they're not following, the legacy mindset. People are going to be building their communities, working on an individual basis without government intervention.
Yeah. And yeah,
That's
we
what
will.
Aquarius is all about, is the communities, the smaller communities.
And here is my co-host who just woke up.
He has to come and greet you, right?
Yeah, of course, of course. No show without her. So another and one of my favorite planets, the big benefactor, Jupiter.
Yeah.
And I also like Jupiter because, of course, as a Sagittarius, how can I not? And so Jupiter um, moves into Taurus. So Jupiter usually has the big picture ambitions.
Yes.
And would you say that Taurus will slow that down to a more realistic pace and perspective?
Jupiter in Taurus. I think Jupiter is, it magnifies everything.
Yeah.
And I think in Taurus, what it's going to do is on both sides, remember I said everything has two sides. It will increase production of food. Is it the way we want it? Or is it the new way full of chemicals, or is it the old way? So it's going to produce more money. It's about money. But how is it going to produce it? The new way, or the old control way? And that's the way Jupiter is. It's just like whatever's going on, it's going to magnify it. But it has so many blessings associated with it. And anybody that has, significant Taurus in your chart, because it's going to be in Taurus for like a year, it's going to magnify what is. So like I'm a quadruple Taurus. I have rising, moon, sun, and Mercury all in the first house. And Jupiter's going to be going over all of that in the next year, which can be really good for people who have that, like me. It could well be a lot more money for me. It could be, more visibility for me. I'm just saying, thank you, God, for Jupiter. So wherever it is in your chart, wherever you have Taurus in your chart, that's where Jupiter is and will be magnifying things for you. And, this big T square that we've got coming, starting on let's say I have the chart of it. The big T square as of May 20th and this is interesting, Pluto at 0 degrees Aquarius, Jupiter at 0 degrees Taurus, and Mars at 0 degrees Leo. And I don't know if you can see this. See that big
Yeah.
red thing? That's it.
Yeah.
Grand trine, or excuse me, a T square. And that is extremely powerful. May is like the pivotal month for the changes we're going to see. Okay. Changes coming. And when you get two squares in an opposition, which is what a Grand Cross is, those energies with, Pluto and Mars, which are warlike energies, with Jupiter up there magnifying them all, we can literally see a lot of people very upset. Look what's happening in France right now. Big time.
Yeah.
People
I
aren't
found
happy.
that very interesting that France once again is at the forefront.
Right. And it's not just about the pension situation.
No.
Much bigger than that. And I don't think Macron's going to be there much longer.
Yeah, I think his days are numbered as well. As I see it from Mr. Tedros, I think his days are numbered as well. But it might not be within the next couple of weeks, but
Soon.
yeah.
Well, this other T square, Jupiter is also conjunct the North Node, which again, we're talking about the collective future. Okay. And Jupiter's magnifying those issues. Now it may magnify to where everything just blows up, which is what has to happen. But yeah, it's both. It's both good and challenging, but the challenges always turn out to be in the long run for our benefit.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on in the world now.
So I am convinced that the big players, for example, they do look into astrology and things like that. For instance, what happened the last 3 years, that was precisely timed.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and it could not have happened this year. Mm-mm. The energies would not have supported it. So, do you think that um, because of this, that they are trying to push it a little bit forward and faster with their CBDCs?
I think so.
Mhm,
I think it's like you and I discussed before, when the powers that be are nervous that they're not going to get what they want, they rush into things. They
mhm,
want this one world government so badly that they're rushing into things and they're making mistakes,
mhm,
strategic mistakes that I think will make the whole situation implode.
mhm. Yeah.
That's what we want to look toward, is the victory, our victory, not their victory, our victory as humanity. But one of the things we haven't talked about yet is Mercury retrograde, but where Mercury is right now and the difference in the energies from it being in Aries, which is fast, 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 sudden, impulsive, to Taurus, which is slow thinking, much slower, which is more thoughtful, it's more discerning. It isn't impulsive. Right now, Mercury is not impulsive. Now, where we get into a little bit of an issue with it is right now it's conjunct Uranus, which could be quick and sudden information coming to the fore that will be very helpful to us. But the actual thought processes of Mercury in Taurus are very methodical and thoughtful. And it's not that Mercury is going slower. That's not it. It's that the energy of it is more thoughtful, more methodical, to have things be practical and usable rather than impulsive and impatient. So that's helping us right now. This Mercury retrograde in Taurus is very helpful for us to spend more time, be more thoughtful.
And this particular retrograde is from when to when?
It starts tomorrow. It's
Tomorrow. Okay.
retrograde tomorrow, and it's through, I believe, the 14th of May.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So it starts on the 21st of April until the 14th of May.
Yes. And what you have to remember, Mercury is very happy going what is called 40 minutes of arc in speed, which is fast. Mercury likes to travel rapidly. But when retrograde happens, it slows down and becomes uncomfortable. Its speed gets lower than 40 minutes of arc. And so it starts that approximately a week before
Hmm.
and a week after, which is called the storm phase. So you can take the 3 weeks of the retrograde and add 2 more weeks to it, the week
So we
before
are
and
still in the shadow of that.
shadow. So it's about a 5 week process.
Hmm. Okay. So now this T square that you just showed us, how long will that last?
Through It's going to be in the orb of influence through the end of 23.
Wow.
Now Jupiter will move out of orb and Mars will move out of orb, but the Jupiter and the Pluto will still stay in orb for a while, and then it'll move out of orb. So but right now, and especially through May and June particularly, it's very, very active, very strong and intense. And that
Mm.
starts, like I said, around the 20th of May. That's where they're exact. Each one of those is at 0 degrees. And the other thing you have to remember about the signs that they're in, which is Jupiter in Taurus, Mars in Leo, and Pluto in Aquarius, those are fixed signs. The fixed signs are all about the will. And the fixed signs don't listen and take advice. They're in fixity. They've dug their heels in, and that's the way it's going to be. Just like personalities, you know. If you're
And fixed signs would be?
fixed signs are Scorpio, Taurus, Aquarius, and Leo. And they're the 4 signs that hold the power. Okay. Because they dig in. They don't move. They don't budge. Now the cardinal signs, which are Capricorn and Cancer and let me think, Libra, and I can't remember the other one. It'll come to me. But those are the ones that are about motion, movement, action, always on the move. And then the mutable signs, which are the ones about thinking, that listen, that pay attention and utilize the information and oftentimes change. Those are Pisces and Gemini and Sagittarius and Virgo. Those are the mutable. And so, but the fixed signs are not mutable. And oftentimes, and a good share of the times, they're not action oriented. They just dig in. And no, nobody's changing my mind. Nobody's gonna move me from what I know to be true for me. So that's what that Grand Cross is all about. It's like digging the heels in, and it's not budging.
I have as you know, Sagittarius and Aries rising.
And Aries is, well, the 2 more fixed signs of the cardinal signs are Capricorn and Aries. Because Capricorn has a philosophy of it's my way or the highway. You're going to do it my way. And then Aries is very competitive and wants to win the race. And so they see the path to success. And, you know, if you're doing it with a race analogy, you know, they're running a race, Aries will push a player off the thing, you know, off the track to win the race. You know, competition, winning is so a key to Aries, so that they don't take, but they're in motion, but, you know, they're very fixed in their goals, where they want to go. Interesting.
Fire. So, Wendy, that was already the end of our first hour. And that was the public hour with Wendy Cicchetti. And we see the patrons on the other side. Until next time, bye-bye.